going to make a simple recipe that you're going to want to keep in your recipe binder so that you can make this recipe anytime you want. You can use this recipe to make many different dishes, and so I'm going to teach you today on how to make a simple pie crust, and then we're going to use that pie crust to make a galette with persimmon in it. So let's get baking. Here we have our 4 simple ingredients that we're going to use to put this pie dough together. We have 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. We have 2 cups of flour. We have a stick of butter and then an additional 7 tablespoons of butter. You're going to have 1 tablespoon left of butter, and you're just going to set that aside because we're going to use it a little bit later in our galette. And then we have about 1/4 cup of ice water. I filled it up a little bit more because it's just easier to scoop when I'm ready to scoop it in. So let's just start putting our dough together. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put your flour in your food processor. And you add your salt, and then you're going to add that butter, and I have it chopped up into little cubes just like this. You're going to make sure that it's really cold butter, and I'm just going to set that tablespoon aside. Add that in there. Now I'm just going to pulse it a few times, 2, 3, sometimes it's up to like 5 times. You're going to want to get that butter to large pea-sized shapes in your food processor. So let's just pulse it a few times and see how that goes. Okay, that was about 5 times and it's looking good. You have small little pea-sized bits of butter, and that's how you want it to look. Next step is I'm just going to use my tablespoon, and I'm going to get about a tablespoon of water at a time, pour it directly into a mixer as I'm pulsing it, and once we start seeing it come together, that's when we know it's done. So let's just do this, and I'll just do 1 tablespoon at a time so you can see what it looks like as it pulses. Now you see how it's just coming together. You're starting to get some give when it's mixing. It still looks like it's powder, but that's how it should be. We're going to put it out on my mat, and we're going to roll it up. All right, so I put about 9 tablespoons of water into our mix. I'm just going to dump it out onto my mat, and I'll show you what it looks like, or what it should look like. All right, so it just looks like crumbs. If you see it, it's not completely put together, and so a lot of people would panic at this point thinking like, I don't have a dough, it's not put together. One easy thing you can do, if you don't have a mat like this, you can just use parchment paper. That would work too. And I just like to press it together with the mat. So the goal for this is you're going to get it into a circle. Flatten it out a little. All right, there you have it. Once you have it into a small circle like this, we are going to use some plastic wrap and wrap it up with plastic wrap, and then we're going to stick it in the fridge for about an hour and let it chill, and then we will come back to it and I'll show you how to put that galette together. And I'm going to grab my dough, stick it on here. There you have it. It's nicely wrapped, ready to go in the fridge. Okay, so now that your dough is in the refrigerator, we're gonna prep the persimmon part of our galette that we're going to make. So this galette has 2 different types of persimmons. The first type is the Hachiya persimmon, and this type is kind of shaped like an acorn, and you know when it's ripe when it feels like a water balloon. So it's gonna be kind of squishy. That's good, you want it to be squishy. The next type of persimmon is fuyu persimmons. Those are a little bit more harder, a little more solid, and that's going to be the nice little design that we're going to do on our galette. Okay, so first we're going to do the Hachiya persimmons, and basically what you're going to do is you're just going to cut off the top of that. You're going to get a spoon, and you're just going to scoop it out. It's going to be super soft. scoop that out in a bowl. And for those of you that don't really know what a persimmon tastes like, it's kind of like an orange, but not. It tastes like it has honey in it. They're really a unique taste, but they're really good and really flavorful. So once you have those in your bowl, you're just gonna kind of cut it up and mash it up. And this is gonna be the base of your galette. If you see a little bit of some brown seeds, there's not very many, but if there is any, make sure to take those out. So in your hachiya mixture, you're just going to do a pinch of cinnamon. Just a pinch. And then about a tablespoon of honey. Mix that up. And then just set that aside. All right, now with your fuyus, you're going to peel them. But I'm gonna cut the tops off first, just like I did with the hachiyas. And the bottoms. You can already see the difference in the texture from this to the other ones that we already used. So then I'm just going to peel them. Some people like to leave the skin on, but the skin's kind of tough, and so I feel like it cooks a lot faster if you remove the skin. All right, so skin's off, tops are cut off, bottoms are cut off. I'm just going to cut them in half. And then I'll show you how I'm going to cut it. So you're going to stick it on the flat side down, and then you're just going to cut each piece into thin slices. All right, I'll show you what one of the slices looks like. It's just a thin little slice. Okay, so I'm just going to stick all my slices in my bowl here. We have a few ingredients to stick in our mixture. All right, so next inside of our mixture, we're going to put 3 tablespoons of sugar, pinch of salt. I'm going to do about 1/4 teaspoon of lemon zest and 1/4 teaspoon of orange zest. And then I'm going to cut that lemon and give it a little squeeze inside of our mixture. Okay, I'm just going to stir that up. Make sure to evenly distribute all of the ingredients. You can always just taste one to see, make sure you got enough of the zest in there. Yep. We're good to go. All right, next I'm just going to get my crust out. We'll roll that out and we'll put our galette together. Okay, so we're ready to roll out our dough. So here is the dough that we've had in the fridge. I have it out for like a few minutes, maybe about 10 minutes, just so it could soften just a little bit, so it's easier to roll. So I'm just gonna take it out of my plastic wrap, and I'm gonna lay it on a lightly floured surface. All right. Now I want you guys to see in this dough, you can see all your little slivers of butter and in the dough, and that's what makes your dough nice and flaky. All right, so like I said, I have a nice lightly floured surface. I also put some flour on my rolling pin so that you don't get stuck. Another trick for it not to get stuck is if you rotate it after rolling it out just a little bit. So I'm gonna start from the center and work my way out. Okay, and then I'm gonna flip it. Do the same thing. You can see that the corners are cracking just a little bit, and that's all right. That happens. So just when they do crack, just pinch them together again. I'm going to reshape this since it's not a complete circle. Pinching those corners. Okay, I shape those corners just a little bit. Just going to stretch it out just a little bit more. A trick for this is to flip your dough is you can just roll it on your rolling pin and flip it. All right, that's looking good. Okay, so this is what it looks like. You can still see those little pieces of butter in your dough. It's completely rounded. Now, next we're going to put our persimmon toppings on there, wrap it up, and stick it in the oven. At this point, before you put the toppings on, you're going to want to start preheating your oven to 400 degrees. First things first, we're gonna get the Hachiya, and we're just gonna put that in the center. Spread it around. You're gonna wanna leave an edge because you're gonna be folding this up. All right, now that that is on there, you're gonna add your fuyu mixture. Get one last little mix. Pop that down in the center. Okay, you got a nice even layer there. And then last but not least, gonna add that 1 tablespoon of butter that we had left over from the dough. We're just gonna sprinkle it around. All right, so now there's a very simple way to get this folded up. Just gonna fold the top, the bottom, and then right and left. You see it's kind of square shape right now. If you fold these corners up and push them down, that is where you're going to get your round shape. Make sure to press them a little bit because you don't want them to separate from the dough. You can pleat that in just a little bit so you can see your filling a lot better. All right, so you're just going to use some egg wash and put that on your dough. Okay, and then get some sugar and you're just gonna sprinkle it on the outside. There we go. Okay, this is ready to stick in the oven, and it's gonna stay in the oven for about 45 minutes. And then we're going to check it out and give it a taste. All right guys, so here we have our lovely Persimmon Galette. I also baked an apple pear galette with apple cider caramel. We're gonna try the Persimmon Galette now. You hear that? It's nice and crispy on the bottom. There you go, there's your slice. See that steam coming out? Still nice and hot. All right, last thing we gotta do is just give it a taste. Gotta get a little bit of everything. Piping hot, but that's good. That's really good. I'm gonna have to put you guys on hold so I can finish this. Thanks for watching, everybody. I have the recipe down in the description below. You can also like or comment anything. If you have any galette recipes that you've tried, I'd love to hear about them. Also, if you'd like to learn how to make the pear apple galette that I made, follow me on my Instagram. If you'd like any notifications knowing when the next videos are coming out, check that bell. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.